to my house. Mi casa es su casa. I put out there on Facebook that I was going to do a video on tamales, and here I am today doing the video with my girlfriends, and we're excited to do this. Little disclaimer, we do not have a cooking show, so we're going to try our best for all of you guys. So be patient with us. Little bit about myself. My name is Rosalinda O'Hare. Like I said, I'm from the town of Guadalupe, and I am a realtor here in Arizona. And so just wanted to let you guys know that. If you guys ever need a realtor, give me a call. So just wanted to let you know about myself. And this is Melissa. And Melissa's going to tell you about herself.
Hi everybody, I'm Melissa, a senior loan officer with Guild Mortgage, and I live in Chandler, Arizona, originally from Northern California, and I'm here to learn how to make Rosalinda's famous tamales. I grew up making tamales, however, I don't make them myself. I was just kind of like the spreader, but I really want to learn, and I want to learn how she makes them. I heard they're very good. So Rosalinda's going to kind of walk us through.
So Melissa is a really good friend of mine, and she is who I use for all of my loans pretty much, and well, exclusively, because she's the one that does all my loans, to be honest with you. And she's awesome, and she's a Spanish speaker, and she's a great person, a great friend. And this is my other great friend right here, Jill, and she's going to let you know about herself too.
Hi, I'm Jill Gonzalez. I'm the owner and creator of JLG Originals. I'm an acrylic, a luxe acrylic, and resin artist, excuse me. And I am here to learn right alongside Melissa, and hopefully we'll have some fun together today.
So the first thing I'd like to discuss with you guys are the ingredients that I buy for my tamales. I buy the guajillo chili. I get this at Ranch Market. It's a dry chili guajillo. It doesn't have like a, as far as if it's mild or hot, it's just guajillo. The New Mexico chili, I buy the mild, which states right here, dulce, which means sweet, but it's not sweet, to be honest with you. So I get the mild. Now, if you want spicy, you could also buy the árbol, and this is a spicier chili, if you like that. I don't use the árbol, I just bought it to show you guys, but you can make some really spicy chili with this, with the árbol.
What's the difference between these two chilies here?
They're just different origins. So like the
dry
Mexico.
chili pods.
Yeah, but they're the dried chili pods.
Okay.
Sometimes you see them like hanging outside people's houses and stuff like
I
that.
have one, so these are different houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are the chilies that I use. I also buy the masa, which is, this is how I make my harina. I bought this at the Ranch Market also. And this is what you make your masa with.
And where's Ranch Market? I have not.
The Ranch Market that I go to is on Arizona Avenue on the
Chandler Boulevard.
Yeah,
or the
Chandler Boulevard, that's where I
yeah.
go. And I believe it was like 2 for $5.
For Ray Road. Correction, Ray Road.
Yeah, so that's where I go to, and so I get my masa there. I also use ground cumin, so that's what I use. The granulated garlic, and then the chicken bouillon. Okay. And bay leaves.
Oh,
So I use bay leaves, and then also the garlic cloves, which I have them all in here. This is called a molcajete. This is what I use to make my salsas. You can find these like at, I think like at Park and Swat. So this is my garlic, and this is a molcajete right here. And it comes with a rock, and I use this to make my chile and all that. So a lot of garlic, and then the baking soda and the baking powder. And some people use lard for their tamales. I don't.
okay.
I use canola oil. It does taste really good with the lard, but I'm trying to watch my cholesterol. So
Okay, that's a good one. Consistency so
No,
much for you,
no.
that's a big difference.
No, to me, I've gotten so used to it with that, and to me, I personally like it. I don't feel it's as heavy, but the lard is good. So and the meats that I buy is the whole pork butt. this right here. This is the meat that I bought. I just got this at Fry's, but you can find it like at Costco or Sam's Club.
Okay.
So what you do, the very first step is you're gonna get your meat. I use pork and I use the Angus roast.
Okay.
After I cook them, I mix my meat. I think it tastes better. I don't like just the pork or just the beef, thank you, ma'am. So I like to cook the both meats. So what I do is I get the pork, I open it up and I rinse it. Then what I do is I put it in a pot like this size. Once I do that, I fill up the water all the way to the top that I can, because I am going to use the broth of the pork and the broth of the beef to make my masa. Now I'll put in like 5 bay leaves, and then a handful of the garlic.
Okay.
I don't have a specific recipe because I was taught to cook just by just doing it. And I had a friend that also told me, which I totally agree, is that eventually, as you make your tamales, you're gonna tweak it for if you want more garlic and all. And that's the beauty of cooking, is that you tweak it. The way my mom taught me, I make it more or less, but there's some things that I've done different. So you put the bay leaves, you put the garlic.
Do you chop the garlic up or anything?
No, I just throw them in there whole.
Okay.
So I throw a handful of whole garlic, like 5 bay leaves, the water, and 1 onion, and I let it boil for like 3 hours.
Okay.
So normally, you'll know that your meat is done because it gets very tender. So I'll make 1 pot with the pork and 1 pot with the beef. If you don't like pork, you could use all beef if you like. If you want chicken, you could use chicken also. But you need the stock, because that's what you're going to use to make your masa after you put it through the
Just to give it more flavor.
more
right?
flavor. And I don't use chicken stock. Like, I don't buy the cans of the chicken stock because I feel like it's very salty, and I feel that it tastes better with the homemade chicken broth. I mean the steak broth. So that's the first step that we will be doing in making the tamales. If you're going to have a tamale party, I strongly recommend that you do this on your own time, because it takes 3 hours for the meat to cook. What I do is I'll make it, I'll shred it, and then I'll freeze my meat. I'll freeze it if I'm gonna have a party next week or whatever, and then I'll just defrost it right before. So that is the first step of making the tamales.
And all the seasonings that you went over,
Yes.
that's what goes in the broth with the meat.
Correct.
And do you have specific measurements?
No.
Or you just kind of
We'll be making it, and as we're making it, you guys
dump it in and...
are going to help me with the measuring.
Okay.
They're going to be your guys' helpers on how I'm doing all of this.
We'll do our best.
Okay, so the next step, I went over with you guys to make the meat, to get it boiling for 3 hours. Once the meat is done, here it shows the product. This is the meat right here. I mixed the pork and the beef, and I shredded it. This meat is not prepared yet. We say preparada. It's not ready for the tamales, but it's shredded. We still have to prepare it with getting the sauce in there, the chile that we're gonna make. So what I do is, like I said, I shred it, put it to a side, and then start the chilies. So Jill is going to make the chilies for us.
Okay.
So as I explained to Jill, you get the,
Okay.
so the chilies, you open them up, and then you just like slice it a little bit with your finger. And what you want to do is take off as many seeds as you can, because when you put it through the colander, it's less work for you. And then
So you don't want any seeds in there?
you don't want the seeds, because you have to do it through the colander, so
And they
it's a
kinda
little
get
bit
stuck
more
in the
work.
colander, or is
Yeah,
that
they
what
get
you're saying?
stuck, and then the process is longer.
Okay.
So then you just throw them dried in the pot,
Okay.
and you're gonna fill it up with water, and throw like 5-6 garlics in there, and just let it cook. It takes like an hour. You'll see the chilies will get soft, But if you time it for an hour on medium flame, it's fine.
Okay.
We're not going to use the broth or anything like that because it's going to get really red, the broth from the chili. We just want the chilies to get soft so we can blend them to make the sauce for the tamales. And again, this is a New Mexico chili in the guajillo.
And would you use all of these from both bags?
Yes.
Okay.
So I know that Melissa was asking me, like, how can we use it in other ways? And what I do is, what you can do, which is really awesome, if you make the chili with the 2 bags, and you cook them and you blend them, and then you do it through the colander and you do it the way I showed you, or you can tweak it whichever way you want, you can freeze it.
Okay.
So you can freeze the chili and you can use it later for enchiladas, for if you want to make burritos one night.
Okay.
If you want to make like a nacho bar, you can mix it with some ground beef and cook it.
Oh, that sounds
So,
good.
yeah, so you can totally freeze it and have it ready if you invite to a party. And like I said, my meat, I make it and I freeze that. So if you can invite it for, you know, a party and you want to make enchiladas, you just literally just get your corn tortillas, you have your meat, you have your red sauce done, and your cheese, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the next step. We're gonna go ahead and put these to cook, and then we'll show you how to, what the next step is to the actual, the colander.
And again, to repeat, we're just putting these in here and just filling it with water.
Yeah, just filling it with water, and
No
we're gonna boil
seasoning,
it.
nothing, just
Just the
this.
garlic?
The garlic.
And just cook it like for 45 minutes to an
Got it.
hour, and let it get soft, the chilies.
Great.
Awesome. Seems pretty simple.
Yes, it does. I always wondered, I looked at these and I thought, what do I do with them?
Yeah, and now we know.
Now we know.
Now we know.
Hello. So the last step that I talked about was making the chilies, and we had them in the pot. We're gonna fill it up with water and with the garlic, cook it for an hour. Once it's done, you get the blender and you're going to use the strainer, and you use a strainer with I use this wooden spoon. So normally what I do is I put it over another pot, and I put the chilies from there on here. I use the broth of the meat. Real quick, I did strain this too. So the broth, I ran it through the strainer with this to take all the meat particles, and I put it in another pot. And that's why it's clear. If you can show it, Melissa.
That's a nice consistency.
Yeah, it's very clear. There's no meat, nothing of the meat, because we ran it through this. So you're gonna do that and put it in another pot, okay? With the chili, what I do is I get the chili and I blend it. I throw it in the blender with a little bit of the water from the chili, and then you put it in here, and then you do that where you put the chili through this, and that's going to give you a consistency of this. Right. Because you can see that there's no seeds, there's no chili. We
Right.
ran it through, and that's gonna be
Nice and-
It's not prepared yet. We still have to season it, but at least we have the chilies, the guajillo and the New Mexico chili. We have that.
Okay, so once this is cooked for an hour, you're gonna take out any of the pods that have softened.
Correct.
That's what you put in a blender.
Right.
With a little bit of the broth that's in here.
Right.
Blend it up to just a liquid consistency.
Yeah, you want a liquid
Then
consistency.
you're gonna strain it through this into another pot.
Correct.
Okay.
And you're gonna use this to take all the seeds and just throw it away, because
Right.
you're not gonna use it for anything.
Right.
Right.
So you'll have to do that in several batches probably. in a
Correct.
blender.
Yeah, you do several batches.
Okay.
And then the sauce, like once you season it, this is where I was saying that you can save it for, for a burrito night or for whatever. You can go ahead and season it the way we're gonna season it, or to whatever you like for your palate, and then you can freeze it and have it in your. It's like making spaghetti sauce, I guess. If people,
Right.
like
That's
to
a good
freeze
way
it.
to look at it. Yep.
Same thing. You could freeze your New Mexico chili.
Okay.
And do that. Okay, so far we have the meat done. It's shredded. We have the meat, it's shredded. The sauce, we have that. We have that done too, as you can see, the consistency of the sauce. We ran it through the strainer. There's no seeds, there's no chili, it's just the sauce. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to season it. I don't use measuring cups or spoons, so I just know more or less, I just, you know, tweak it too. And you'll do that too. When you make your sauce, you'll tweak it. The only thing I'm really careful with is the salt, because it's hard to take away the salt, you know that. So that's what I'm careful with. I always get a lot of spoons, and I always put them here on the side so I have tasty. I have my spoons, and so that's why I have a bunch of spoons out. So what I'm going to do first is, can you give me a spoonful of the chicken base, of the chicken bouillon?
Okay.
So Melissa's going to put a spoonful of chicken and just sprinkle it like this. Yeah. Okay, give me two of them.
Two. Okay.
Yeah, two. And let's do two of the chicken bouillon, and then give me two of the garlic.
Granulated garlic. Okay.
And it's cooking as we're doing this, so it's on a low flame.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm gonna go home and make some tamales tonight.
Yeah. And then
Salt.
let's do comino.
Oh.
And
some cumin.
Yeah, some ground cumin, ground.
How many?
Let's do one for right now.
Just one.
Because cumin is a very strong taste, which I love. But normally I would probably put two for me, to be honest with you. So we're gonna go ahead and taste that. So if you want to taste it, Melissa,
Okay.
and get your spoon. Has a little kick to it. Which we use mild, but it does have a little kick. Maybe if you want to yield.
Oh, that's good.
But it's good.
That is yummy.
So I think that let's add half a chicken bouillon.
Okay.
So that's going to be 2.5. And that's for the size that I have.
Okay.
Poquito más, a little bit more.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
And let's add one more of the comino.
Okay.
So 2 of the cumin. And that spoon is it's a bigger spoon. What spoon is this? It's a table, it's like a soup spoon. The bigger spoon?
Yeah, a little bit bigger spoon.
Yeah, so this is the small spoon and this is the bigger spoon, so that's what
Yeah.
I use. So
Now
now,
salt. Are we gonna put salt?
I don't think it needs salt because
Okay.
this right here has salt.
Right.
But tell me, you taste it and you tell me what you think. We could probably do a one,
Oh, you're right. It doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Maybe just
maybe just like a half.
Maybe like a half.
I'm gonna do a
Yeah.
half of the salt because this has salt. So I'm gonna just do a half. And I use the table salt. I normally cook with sea salt, but when I make the tamales and I'm doing, I don't like it with the thicker salt, so I just use the table salt. Now again, like I said, this, you can cook this and you can go ahead and let it cool down and then freeze it and have it for nacho night, burritos. Make ground beef, you can make some ground beef or some carne asada steak and just fry it up with some oil, with some onion and tomato, and take the broth out of it. And then you could throw some of this in there, or you can even make a roux. You could add some flour to it and let the flour turn brown, and then you could add this and have it thickened up, and that would be really nice also. Okay, next step. So what I am going to do is I am going to prepare my meat. So this meat, like I said, you could freeze it, you can make it and then freeze it and make it later for burritos, enchiladas, tacos, or yeah. If you are doing like, I know it's kind of a little bit off track, but say you want to do something that's just all protein, you're not going to do it this way. If you don't care about the protein, about the carbs, then you're going to do it this way, the way I'm going to do it right now. So I'm going to do it different. I've done it both ways where I've just done the meat without flour, but today I'm going to do it with flour. So I put like a half a cup or like a half a cup of oil, yeah, in the pan. And I am going to this one. So I had I have Melissa making rice. We just made rice. Melissa is making it. It came out fabulous.
So yummy.
Because we are going to eat with the meat. So we got hungry as we're making the tamales. So Melissa's like, hey, I'll just make some rice. So her rice looks great. And I'm going to go ahead and move my comal. This is a comal that I use for my tortillas. But I'm going to move my comal and put my pan here because that's a bigger flame for me. And this comal, I'm going to put it on because I'm going to use this for the tortillas. Now this comal right here, a little off the subject, I know, but this right here you could find at, I think Ranch Market you can find it. This is how I make my quesadillas and my tortillas. Now the trick is, it has to be very hot before you put your tortilla on. If it's not hot, the tortilla is not going to come out right. So I have the oil in my pan. I'm going to go ahead and get the flour. Which flour is this? Do you guys see my eyes right now?
Two tablespoons.
2 tablespoons. So 2 tablespoons of flour. Because I'm going to make what they call the roux. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to cook it and then it turn a little brown. This will give you a thicker sauce. ¿Tú lo haces también? ¿Así? No? Okay. So, I'm talking to one of my friends. He speaks English too, but Latinos, when they're with other Latinos that speak Spanish, we get so excited that we speak Spanish.
Sí.
So I'm going to do like 3 because I'm going to use this whole container. This whole container I'm going to do.
So each one was 2 tablespoons, so 6
Yeah.
tablespoons.
So 6 tablespoons for a pan this big. Look at the way it looks. Do you see that? I'm waiting for it to turn brown. So I'm going to cook the flour, and I'm going to put enough meat that will fit in this pan. So I can't say it's going to be the whole pan, and we'll see how much fits. When I make my green chili, I do this too. Because my kids like their meat like very saucy and thick, like a gravy kind of. So that's why I do it with flour, because they like it really thick.
That's good. I never knew that little trick.
Yeah. So that's cooking. So this is the color, like a golden brown. Can you see that? You see it? It's like a golden brown.
And for the oil, you just use the vegetable oil, not an olive oil or...
I could use olive oil.
Okay.
Yeah. I could use olive oil. Some people use the lard or canola oil.
This is where you were speaking of the lard. Some
Right.
people do it with the lard here instead of the oil.
You could do it the lard with the masa.
Okay.
Yeah, but you could use lard with this too.
Okay.
But I use the oil. Okay, so that's pretty much ready. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and make is throw my meat in there. Well, you can throw the meat in there and the sauce, or the sauce and the meat. But I'm going to go ahead and throw some of the meat. So I'm going to just use my hands. My hands are clean, and I'm going to throw some of the meat in there.
She makes it look so easy.
And we're gonna eat some burritos right now.
We're all hungry.
We all got so hungry, so we're like, hey, let's eat some burritos. We have everything here.
Yeah.
So here's the sauce, and I'm gonna start putting this in here. Now it's gonna thicken up with the flour, right? Okay. And then you just stir it. I'll show it to you guys in a minute. I'm gonna put some pepper in there.
It smells so good in here.
Yes.
I know.
Not too much pepper because it has a little kick because the guajillo chili. So if you don't want any kick, just use the New Mexico mild chili. So here, you see how it's thick, the sauce?
Yep.
And then just show it to you. And here it is.
Yummy.
Do you see that?
Good.
Looks delicious.
There's the meat. And it's like a thicker consistency. You can see it. Really good. So if you cook this, like I say, you make your sauce, you put it in the freezer, you make your meat, you put it in the freezer, and then when you're gonna have company over, you make your roux.
Mix it all together.
Yeah,
Flour.
you make your flour with the oil, and then you throw your meat, you throw your sauce, and now you're ready. You can serve this. So Melissa made some awesome rice, and I have some queso fresco that I get at Ranch Market, and I love the queso fresco. And I have these tortillas right here from Ranch Market too. I don't work for Ranch Market, I just I go to.
So Rosalinda, would you say you can pretty much get most of it from Ranch Market?
Yes,
Okay.
yes you can. So, okay. So now, this is not tamales, I know, but we're starting. So you're guarding something else too, you know, so you have your parties.
Just an appetizer.
So here's a tortilla, and this comal is on. Yes. So the comal is on, and I'm gonna make some little burritos here, especially for my camera guy because he's doing this as a favor for us. And do you see how the tortilla cooks? So, we have that. Look at that meat. Look at that.
Oh, that looks
See
great.
that?
So good.
Nice and juicy and the thick,
It looks
the
so
sauce.
rich. Yeah.
It looks rich.
Yeah.
And look at the tortillas, how they cook on the comal. You see how it bubbles up?
Bubbles.
That's a real tortilla. That's how you eat the tortilla. So
Yay.
rice.
Okay.
There's this, and then
Thank you.
and then you always add some queso fresco with it.
Grab a little bit of my rice.
Her rice came out fabulous.
Nice and fluffy.
Yeah, nice and fluffy.
Yeah.
Nice and fluffy.
Yeah.
Look at that, how beautiful her
Yeah.
Spanish rice came out.
Yeah,
Show it to
great.
you. Look at her Spanish rice. Beautiful, beautiful. That's a talent right there.
I got it from my mama.
Yes, we did. So that is that step, and then we're gonna get to the next step of making the masa. We're back. We took a small little break and we ate the fabulous rice that Melissa made, and the meat that we prepared was so good. And we had a little bit of wine too, to have some
Cheers.
girlfriend
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Cheers, salud. And we're gonna go ahead and go on the next step with tamales. So we did the meat. The next step that we're going to make is the masa. So here in my molcajete, which I believe you get this at Ranch Market, and I don't work for Ranch Market.
Everything at Ranch Market, apparently.
I don't work at Ranch Market, but my molcajete, I have my garlic. I also try to have my garlic, when I buy garlic, I'll peel it and I'll try to have it in the fridge for the week. And so as I'm cooking, it's ready. So that's why the garlic looks so nice in here. I just put it in my molcajete for a little bit of like staging. So I am going to prepare for the masa. So what I'm going to do, I have my broth here, and I am going to get some of my broth that we put through the strainer. I'm going to put it in the blender. And what I am going to do, I'm going to throw like a couple handfuls of garlic, but I love garlic. If you don't like garlic, you don't have to put that much. That's just me personally. So I probably put in like, how many, like 10,
10?
Yeah.
like 10, 12,
12, yeah.
Big cloves.
big cloves of garlic. And I am going to have Melissa blend this. And so this is nice and tight. This is closed. You don't have to worry about that. Here are my Vitamix. And then just go ahead and blend that. So we're going to use this for the masa. Because we don't want to smash it or cut it up. We want it to be in the sauce. Okay, so that is there. We're going to have Jill start the corn husk. When I was growing up, my mom would always give us this job to help her with the tamales. You remember too? And it was like, we want to help with tamales. Okay, clean the hojas. They're called hojas in Spanish. And we're like, oh, we want to clean the hojas, but it has to be done, right?
What do you call these in English?
Corn husk.
Corn husk.
Yes.
Okay.
The corn husk. So what we have to do is we have to wash them because they have like a little bit like a hair. I don't know what it is, but from the corn husk.
Okay.
And
Still
yes.
on.
So what you do is you just wash them and then you just lay them flat. So and then when you go and have your assembly line, it's easy. And lay them the same way. So if you want to do some of these, Jill. And it's like for me growing up, my mom was really strict with us on making sure that you got rid of that because you don't want someone taking a bite of your tamale and thinking, oh my gosh, there's a hair.
Yeah.
It's not a hair, it's the corn husk. So that's like, would be really embarrassing. So just make sure that when you do that, you know, you take your time, because sometimes they end up coming down to the bottom right here. So you have to see that, and then you have to like make sure that you really take your time cleaning. We used to clean our hojas, corn husk, the night before the tamales. And my mom would just have them soaking in water after we cleaned them. So she would put like in a bucket.
Full of
Yeah,
water.
full of water. And
Okay.
then she would renew and she would come and inspect and check to see if there was any of those floaties and we get in big trouble. So,
But it's almost like you can assign your kids a task, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a non-messy task.
Yeah.
Relative to the chili.
Oh, yeah.
This is an easy one.
And they would like that, you know, clean the corn husk.
Well, they still feel like they're part of the process.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
This is an easy one for them to do.
Or if you're gonna divide it like in with your girlfriends, or to make it a tradition even with your kids or whatever, or if your kids have their own place, you could say, okay, you buy the hojas, clean them, and you bring them, and they'll bring them in like a pot with water so they stay soft.
Okay.
And then they do it the night before. You know, you can make the sauce the night before, somebody else can make the meat the night before and shred it, and then
You all get together and
yeah, it's perfect.
They're ready to go.
Yeah. I remember when we were little, it would be my mom, my grandma, my aunt, and then all the kids, and then we all had our own little task.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
so much
It's a nice bonding experience.
Nice
Family
tradition,
time. It
yeah.
passes down the tradition
Yeah.
from the elders to the rest of the family, which is nice. Because a lot of recipes are not passed down anymore.
Right.
People are too much for hurry.
Right.
And they want convenience food.
Yeah.
This is something that you can do to bring your family together and pass on those nice family traditions. It has a very rich tradition behind it.
It does.
So that's nice.
Especially during the holidays, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's why I wanted to share the recipe when I put that post out there, how many of you would like to know how to make tamales. Because I was curious, because especially with this pandemic right now going on, everyone's like kind of like a little, we're all like so tired of the pandemic and the coronavirus. It's just been hard on all of us. And I thought, you know, this would be something good that if you want to have a small group and you could do this and have a tradition that you do it every year.
Yeah.
And-
And even bring friends over,
Yeah.
right? Have some wine and make tamales.
Or your kids could even learn this. To me, I think it is so beautiful for the kids to learn, even your sons, for them to learn how to do this and be able to pass it on to their kids. Because that's something that I love is tradition, and I think that that's something that we should try to incorporate in our lives, different traditions.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
she is making the tamales, she's getting the corn husk clean for us. I am going to go ahead and start the masa and we'll be ready for that. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so the next step that we're going to do, let me do a little recap. We made the meat The meat took 3 hours to cook with the garlic, the bay leaves, and you could throw onion in there, boil it for 3 hours. You shred your meat, you put it in a container by itself. You're gonna run the broth through the colander or the strainer and have that to a side. Then what you're gonna also do is shred the meat and put it in a container. After that, you're gonna do your red sauce. You're gonna season it with the cumin, with the chicken bouillon, with salt, with the garlic, and do all of that and season it. And then you're going to prepare your meat with the flour. You're gonna get your oil and put your flour in there and turn it into a roux. You can throw your sauce in there, and then that becomes this meat right here, as you can see. Nice and juicy, and that's your meat. I mentioned that you can freeze that and put that for later on also. I also want to share with you guys that I froze some of the red sauce, and I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. But this is my sauce right here that I froze, and I'm not sure if you can see that. Can you see that? So that's my sauce that I froze, and that's nice because you always use that. So what I'm going to use is maseca, and I use the 4.4 pounds of the maseca. This one is gluten-free. Not that it matters for me, but it just said gluten-free, so I figured why not. Got this at Ranch Market.
Ranch Market is the place to be.
I'm shocked.
So I got this at Ranch Market.
Don't say.
I'm not surprised.
By the way, if you ever go to Ranch Market, go like around before 2 if you can. They sell the roasted hatch green chilies there. They roast them
I did
there.
not know that.
They are so good, but they sell out every day.
Sure they do.
So you go and they have them by the registers. So go buy the chilies, and you can use that and make ground beef or chicken or whatever with some oil. Throw that in there in your meat with some tomato and cilantro. But their chilies are to die for. So very, very yummy. So here's the whole maseca. And I'm going to use that. Now I use a container like this.
Like a turkey roast.
Yeah, like a turkey roasting pan.
Yeah.
I took off my wedding ring and all that because you have to get dirty with this. And my hands are clean, I wash my hands. So I am going to go ahead and start with the oil first, with the flour first. So I have the, where's the baking powder? Is it right here? Oh, here it is. So I am going to use this spoon right here, which is like a tablespoon.
Tablespoon.
Okay, so. Some people don't put baking soda in theirs, but my mom has always had us do it, and she said that it makes them more like fluffier, the masa. I don't like my masa very thick, and the tamales. Some people like it very thick, so when you go to put your masa on your tamales, if you like it really thick, then put a lot. But for me personally, I like it a little thin because I want to enjoy more of the meat.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would too.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. And then the flour, I'm going to use this, but not all the way, like that much.
Bacon powder.
Baking
The
powder?
baking powder. Yeah, sorry. Baking powder. And then I'm going to go ahead and mix all this up. And then I have Melissa and Jill are going to help me. And a lot of it, I bought my mom a KitchenAid, and my mom uses a KitchenAid now. My mom is 77 years old, so she gets tired with the masa, but she loves a KitchenAid. So I strongly recommend, if you're going to use a KitchenAid, do what I just did with the baking soda and the flour. Put it in your KitchenAid, and then you're going to look at the consistency of how much you want to put, or you could do the oil part and then put it in your KitchenAid. So let's do the oil part. So if you can give me some oil, let's do 2 cups for right now. And just and like I said, I don't know by recipe, I just know by doing. Okay, so now I'm going to mix it up. And give me 2
A little
more
bit
cups.
more? Okay.
So 4
So
cups.
now
So
4 cups.
4 cups so far to this whole bag. Of the 4 point.
We're doing canola oil.
Now, if you use lard, put the lard. I'm sorry, my dogs. They run the house. They're my babies.
They're like kids.
Yeah. Okay. So if you are going to use lard, put the lard in a bowl and just make it as creamy as you can with your hands. Just keep on mixing it, and it'll get creamy and creamy and creamier. Okay. Now what I need is some of the broth.
Okay.
Perfect. Oh, you know what? Give me that garlic. That's
Garlic?
right there.
Okay. How much would you say?
Just give me, put it in there.
Okay.
And put me a cup. And this is the, let's do 2
This
cups.
is the garlic and
Yeah.
water blended.
Yeah,
right?
the garlic and the
Or 2
broth.
cups?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna do 2 cups of the garlic broth.
Right. Because I want garlic in my masa, but I don't want to use the powder. If you want to, you can. And I don't want to chop it up, but I want to get as much as I can. So look at the masa, how it's getting. And it smells good.
It does.
Yeah,
It
it
smells
smells really good. I love garlic.
So let's throw all of that in here.
All of it? Okay. So then what does this end up being? It ends up being close to,
So with the 4 that we
it's
did,
like 3.5 cups.
Okay.
Close to 4.
so we did close to
If you
4.
really like garlic, then right, you can put a little bit more.
Okay. Now we're gonna put in some broth. So you can
Some
use that
broth.
same container. Yeah.
This one?
And give me like 4 cups in here.
Let's see where we at. Okay, so that's 3 cups. So we're gonna do 1 more cup. All right.
And if you have someone helping you make the masa, have them do what Melissa did. So as I was doing the masa, she pours it over the dry area. If there's any dry areas, that's where she poured it. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to get the color, because I don't want to put too much liquid and then it's going to be too liquidy and I can't add the color. So I want my masa to have a red color, but not too red. So I'm going to have Jill give me some, let's do, how much is that? 1 cup?
This is a 2 cup, 2.5 cup total.
Okay, so let's do 1 cup of the red sauce, please. And remember, this sauce is done. We cooked it, we strained it, we put the cominos,
seasoning.
all the seasoning. What seasonings do we use? We use the
We use the
cumin.
cumin, the chicken bouillon, the
Uh-huh.
salt,
Mhm.
and the garlic salt.
Correct.
Or no, the garlic
Powder. Yes. So we're gonna go ahead and just go ahead and pour it over.
So it's gonna give it color and flavor, right?
Right, it's gonna give it the color and the flavor, because remember, we put the sauce in the meat. So I want a little bit more color, so if you can give me 1 more, please. Once I get my color, then I can add the other broth. But I want to make sure that I don't put so much liquid in my masa that I can't add the color. Very good.
There's so many different ways to make tamales, right?
Can I have another 2 cups of oil, please?
Yes.
My mother always told me, she said, you have to make sure that your masa, you'll know it's ready because you want it kind of like a, go ahead, ma'am. It has to be very mushy because you want it to spread on your corn husk. If it's not very mushy, it's not going to spread on your corn husk.
So maybe kind of like a peanut butter consistency?
A little bit
A
creamier.
little bit creamier, yeah. Because then it won't spread, and then your mom or your grandma yells at you.
Oh my gosh.
That used to happen to me all the time.
Goes the chocolate.
Then you have to start all over
Yes,
again.
throw the chocolate.
Yeah.
See, she knows, she's married to a Latino. She says throw the chocolate, and you're like,
Chocolate's
The
yeah.
sandal, chocolate's a sandal.
Flip flop.
Can I have a little bit
Cover
more,
for your head.
please? Thank you. Just like one more cup. Don't you think a little bit more right now?
I think a little bit more.
I think so.
Yeah.
And my sauce is, one more, Mija. So I'm not sure how many we put
So
in.
that's 4, I think. 4 cups.
Look at the way it's looking, guys. And this is the fun part. I used to love watching my mom make the masa.
It's like Play-Doh here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is like Play-Doh.
Yeah.
There you go.
And we used to just sit around when she was making the masa
Tell stories.
and
or-
tell stories
Yeah.
and watch my mom like making it. We were like in awe because if
Yeah.
you know how to make masa, it's like, wow. A lot of people go to the store and they buy their masa.
Right.
And if you guys, feel like it, to be honest with you, if you feel like you want to go to Branch Market and you go back to the meat area, I believe, or the cheese area, and they sell the masa there. So say that you just want to say, hey, you know what, I want to make the masa, I'll buy the masa. You can go buy the masa and just make your red chili sauce and add to it. You could add some chili, add, a little bit of oil, taste it, add some salt, garlic, whatever, but at least the foundation would be there for you. So don't feel discouraged if you're just like, I don't know if I want to do that. But this is like the best part.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling that we need, I think, another 2
A little
cups
bit
of oil.
oil.
Yeah.
I
Because the
agree.
flour just like sucks it up.
Yep.
So
Just like you said, a little bit of this, a little bit.
So we're at about
Where are
what,
we
8
at?
cups?
I think we're about 8 cups.
Now
Yeah,
we're
we did 2 cups. I think it
Yeah.
goes to 4.
Yeah, we're at 8.
It's a good gauge, right?
Yeah.
Especially you did a bag of maseca.
Yeah, I did
The
5
flour.
pounds. And then can I have 2 cup of the broth, please? It's almost done, actually. I can feel it. And I'm telling you, when you get used to making the masa, you'll never buy it. Trust me. You'll be like, I'm gonna make my own masa.
Yeah, it tastes kind of.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, it's just thinking that you're making this, with your hands, with
Yeah.
for people you love.
Yep. Kind of relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah. When my mom let me help her make the masa, it was like honor. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a position of honor if they let you make the masa.
You like graduate
Yeah,
towards that,
you
right?
really do.
Go from rinsing corn husks to this.
Right.
Yep.
And I have 2 more.
Oil?
Yeah.
Okay.
Under the flour.
Oh,
I mean of the water. I'm sorry.
the water.
Yeah, the broth. So I want it to look like this.
Okay.
Now, if you add too much water and you're like, oh my gosh, this is too much water, just add more of the maseca.
Okay.
Just add more of the maseca. And then I think that I want some more chili.
Okay.
A little bit more
Yeah.
color, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Some people in their, yeah. Perfect. Some people, what they do when they make their tamales, they add an olive in the middle.
You add an olive.
They put an olive right in the middle of the tamale or the tamale, and some people like it. My husband doesn't like olives, so I don't do olives.
Yeah.
If you do put olives, just disclaimer, be careful, make sure it doesn't have
With the seed.
with the seed,
Yeah.
but even with your kids.
Yeah.
So-
My mother-in-law makes it with the seed in there, with the olive and the seed, just to keep the flavor. It gives it flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone does it. a
I
little
love it
different.
with the olive.
Yeah,
but
I've
my
never
husband,
heard of that before.
Yeah.
my husband doesn't like olive. I wish he did, because I would so much. Okay, so the consistency feels good to me. Let me wash my hands.
So it's very moist and, right? You've
Yeah.
still got a little juice
Yeah.
kind of around there.
Right. So this is, and I may have to add a little bit more, but this right here is the consistency so far of the masa. Look at that. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to season it. Now remember, our red chili has seasoning in it, right? If you make, when you make your red sauce, if you use the, this one right here, which is a chile de árbol, this is a spicy one. So when you make your sauce, if you want just regular mild, just use regular New Mexico chili, make sure it says mild. Yeah. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and mix all this up. Because remember, the red sauce was already seasoned also.
It's gonna have a really good flavor.
Yeah. You can make tamales and freeze them and then steam them later. But if you made this like to give to somebody for Christmas, in our culture, it is like, it's like an honor when someone gives you tamales because they know, people know how much work it is.
Absolutely.
And it's something very intimate to give someone tamales.
Yeah.
Yes. I had people ask me, will you sell them? And I don't sell tamales because it's so much work, to be honest with you. I'll show you how to make them, but I don't make tamales to sell. But when you learn how to make them, trust me, you're going to so appreciate it. So I want the girls to get a spoon. There's 2 spoons back there.
I still have mine.
Okay.
Here.
And if you can, okay, you have a clean spoon. So just get your clean spoon and taste the masa.
Oh, taste the masa.
Just get a little corner of it because you're gonna taste for the seasoning. And tell what you guys think. Oh
my God.
That's
Delicious.
so good. Is it good?
I could just eat all that
Yes.
masa. That's just like a meal right there. That's good.
You can taste that garlic. It's good.
Yep.
Excellent. Very good.
Yummy.
If you want to add more salt, you can. For me, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
If you want it redder, you could add more chili. You can't mess it up. The only way that you can mess up masa is with the salt. That's the only way.
Right. So less salt's always good, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And always add more. And what do you guys think? Like if you guys were to do this at home and you add too much broth, how would you guys fix it?
More flour. More flour. Yep. More masa.
Okay, last step for the tamales. Now we have the assembly line. We have our meat that we prepared with the red chili that you can also freeze, remember, for parties. You have the masa ready, and we have the corn husk that is ready. Then what we are going to do, I buy the wax paper. Is it the wax paper? Yep. Yeah, I buy the wax paper because this is what I use to roll my tamales. I have 2 of my containers. One's gonna be for the tamales that they roll for me, that they prepare for me, and then the other one that I'm going to put in the paper. So normally, if you end up getting a corn husk like this, you can use this for like your little kids. If they want to make tamales, like for the the little ones, they can use a small one like this. If you have several like this and you're making tamales and you want to make regular tamales, you can put them together. So for example, it would be like this. Just stack them together like that. And then you would put the masa right in the middle and spread it. So you can do that too. My mom used to always do that.
Yeah, we used to do that a lot.
Now, we grew up really, really poor. So when we were growing up, my mom used to, after we would eat tamales, she would have us save them. And we would save them and my mom would wash them. And yeah, so we would get in big trouble if we threw them away as kids. And so that's what we had to do. So, but you can put them together and do that. So they're going to go ahead and do the first tamal. Now, you could also put a cup of water because sometimes they get stuck, and then you could just put your cup in the water, and it helps you spread it.
Spread it a little bit
Uh-huh.
easier. Okay.
So what I do is I get the masa, I put it at the very top, like that, and then I'm going to spread coming down. If I feel that I want a little bit more, I want to just spread a little bit more.
I know, and it's a little bit bigger, it's hard to hold it in one hand. You can also put it down.
I'll lift it up. This is where you would put your olive. If you're going to do olives, you would put your meat and then put an olive right in the middle.
Do I have enough or do I need more?
You can put a little bit more.
Okay.
You want to get it all the way to the bottom?
Yeah, all the way to the bottom because that's going to be your tamale when they open it up. Now remember, if you like it thin, make it thin. If you like it a little bit thicker, make it a little bit thicker. And you're going to know when you make your tamales, you're going to be like, oh, next time I'm going to do this, next time I'm going to do that. That's how you're going to learn. Then you get the meat. And I just do just like that much meat.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's like a
And
science to this.
that's very generous.
Is that enough masa?
Yes.
Okay.
This is where you would put the whole.
Okay. Before the meat.
Correct. Now I'm going to roll this, and basically what you do is you roll it like a burrito, and then you just fold this down, just like that. You're gonna have some masa that's gonna come out, it's okay. And then you're gonna place them down so it doesn't open on your platter. If you are doing an assembly line, that person that is helping on this side, what they would do is they'll get the wax paper and they'll do it like this way. They get the tamale and they're gonna wrap it in the corner like that, like that. And there it is.
Okay.
Your tamale. And you can steam them like that. So you're gonna have, in the assembly line, you're gonna have people, you know,
The wrappers, the
Yeah.
spreaders.
yes, yeah, you're right. You can have someone spreading and just putting them
So
all
then
to
you
the
grab
side.
this. Put it in the middle.
And just go like in an angle like that.
Oh, okay.
And then you're gonna roll this down.
And this side.
And then this
Oh,
over
this
here,
side.
and then that corner over here. And then
Wow.
I'm a professional tamale maker.
yes, you are.
Good.
All right.
And normally, what is given, if you want to give some tamales away, what's normal standard in the Latino culture is a dozen. So normally, like if someone's selling tamales and you get 10, it's like 10, you know, it's like insulting. So it's always a dozen, even if you give them away as a gift. Give away a dozen.
Yeah, my mother-in-law just did that for Thanksgiving for all of her children.
Aw.
She gave a dozen away.
Yes, that's what you do. You don't give,
Yeah.
well, there's 2 people, so we'll give them 6. No, you give them a dozen. Because they're going to give it to their friends, or maybe
Friends,
they have
that's what we
someone over or something. So, go ahead, Nick.
This kind of keeps skipping. It won't stick to certain areas. Is that?
Okay, so what you're going to do when that happens, just go ahead and get a big block,
Okay.
put it right in the middle,
Okay.
and then you're going to just start spraying it down.
Okay.
It's the spoon. It has to be rinsed off.
That's too much
It
blood.
doesn't have too much.
Okay.
And then just start, and then just do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you could go up, you can go down.
See it?
Yeah, and just do it a very light spray. If you go all the way to the bottom, it's always gonna hit the bottom. So you just wanna go very light.
Okay. I think I'm pressing down too much.
Yeah,
Okay.
just press very light. And that's actually really good right there.
Okay.
And then just put your meat.
Okay.
Perfect, Melissa.
I like mine a little thicker,
Yeah.
so I'm putting a little bit more on here.
And like I strongly recommend, you know, if you're gonna have, you might have someone, you know, one person brings the beef, one person brings the pork, the other person brings the stuff for the red salsa. You know, one person brings the corn husk and all the other, you know, spices that you need. But I personally, I like to do this in stages because if you're gonna have a party, prep it. So it makes it so much fun when you could have lunch like we did.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be perfect.
That's nice. Very good.
Fill out.
This is perfect. And then, so what you do is I get a gallon bags.
I like a lot of meat in mine.
You can party.
Party,
Yeah,
right? Yes.
I get the gallon bags, and what I do is I look at my tamal, like, and whoever is doing this part, make sure that they're all facing the right way, the same way, all of them. So I know that this is the top part of the tamal, this is where it's folded. So I'm gonna put them all facing the same way. Why? Because when I put them in the freezer, I know which way they're freezing, but the most important reason why is because when I go to steam them, when you steam them, and I'll show you guys the next part, when you steam them, you want the bottom flat in the bottom, and you want this part in the top, or you just want to lay them. The kind of steamer that I have that I bought at, where did I buy it? Ranch Market. You can just lay them flat, but I make them like into like a tiki.
Okay.
I turn them in, if you have a lot of them.
Oh,
So you
right.
want them facing
Okay.
the same way, and then I freeze them by 12. I only steam them when I'm ready to eat them or give them away. I freeze them,
12
I
is the
freeze
one.
them raw.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I freeze them raw.
Okay.
And then just label it, that's it.
Okay.
We'll get to the next
Awesome.
step. My tamales. I just made a little bit of tamales to show you guys, but basically these tamales are done. I steamed them for 1 hour, and I just put them on a medium flame. What I did was I bought this pot at Ranch Market. But at Ranch Market, I don't work for Ranch Market. And this pot, what I like about it, it has this part right here for the steaming, and you just fill it up with the water. So you put this in here, and then you just put the water up until it starts to hit on the holes, and then you just put your tamales in here. You could put them standing up like a teepee, and then just cover them up with some foil or with the lid. I use foil on it and put them to cook for 1 hour, and then I check them like in 30 minutes. I check it and I put more water, and I cook it for 1 hour, and then you let them sit because they have to get thickened up a little bit, but like for an hour of steaming. So this I love because the other way I used to burn them all the time, and with this one now, and I just add the water, it's kind of like my little protector. So Ranch Market sells this. I bought this years ago, but I did see them there this year. This is the end product of the tamales. I put it on this showcase board that Jill made. This is her information. There's her telephone number. And I just love these boards. I give these out to my clients. And cheese boards are in. And so I'm displaying my tamales on the cheese board, which I think is beautiful. What color is this, Jill?
That's a phthalo green
A phthalo green
with gold.
with gold. Beautiful.
And this has antique crushed mirror on the edge.
Awesome. That is beautiful, beautiful. So that is that. So now we cook the tamales for an hour, and we let them sit like for 20 minutes. And now we are going to go ahead and try our tamales.
Get to try it.
And the story with tamales is this is a gift. When you give tamales, when you make tamales during Christmas time, look at the masa, how beautiful that looks. Look at that. So you could add more red sauce if you like. But the story of tamales is it's a gift that you're giving. They are unwrapping your present. And so it is pretty special when you think about the story of the tamal. So it's awesome, it's beautiful, and came out very good. So if you want to add more red sauce to it, you can, the masa, because when it cooks.
Yummy. Now for the best part.
Oh my gosh. These are so good. So good.
Delicious.
OMG.
So thank you.
So yummy.
The best I've ever had.
Thank you for joining us. We hope that we didn't lose you guys too many times. And thank you, and I hope that you guys enjoy my tamales, and Merry Christmas, and God bless you guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.